Good evening. How you all doing? It's Tuesday, and we're back with the Necrons again. We're going to be painting some glowing purple OSL on these guys. We got a lot of the base coats down on it last night on the Hellstorm hobby stream with myself and Mikey. Now we're going to get to the fun part. Got a little bit more base coating to do. We can get the airbrush out. We can start making these bits of purple pop, which is going to get progressively harder to say throughout the evening, I can guarantee. So far, we've got the Ghost Arc / Doomsday Arc. This is the Doomsday Arc version. We've got the big metallic gun down there. Everything's in stab assembly still. We've still got the pilot. He's got purple eyes. They need a little bit of glow. We've got the armor panels. We've painted the crystal ball. We've painted some of his console bits. We're going to have to paint these bits purple as well, because I forgot about those while I was doing this part. They won't glow necessarily, but they will have a decent fade on them. I'm kind of thinking that these might be like force field emitters to protect this dude who's just sat inside playing away with the Doomsday Arc. Could be. Viking, Fig Biz Studio, That's Undes, Big Brom, Inks, Voodoo Yaz, Too Many Sprues. What up, everybody? We've got the command chair, got a glowy purple back, glowing purple balls. Everyone loves that. Little rods, and then this monstrosity, the rib cage of this beast. Now, this isn't part of the normal kit. The normal kit does not have this large, currently purple rod down the middle of it. So, why have we got that? Well, it's because once this thing is assembled, my client was a little bit worried about the guns. He said that they have a tendency to break off from other ones of these that he's seen. So instead of having the guns coming off from the sides, we've got on the front, there will be, so just underneath there, just attached on there, there will be a pair of Gorse blasters, and then on top of those, coming off from these little metallic joints, coming off of there on almost sort of snake-like tendrils, will be some very thick wire that's got an immortal body on it holding a Gorse cannon. So there's going to be all the guns on here, and it's going to look a little bit different to the normal one, but I think it's going to look a lot cooler. We're going to have glow in all of these bits of purple. The gem. Got to paint a little bit of purple on this section. That's going to be purple, so that's both sides of there. And like I said, top part of this. But before we get into that, let's have a chat about some fun things that are happening soon. George! 14 months, dude. Damn, son. That is a long time. That is a long time. Thank you very much for that sub, mate. I am doing great. How are you? Over the next few weeks, lots of fun things are happening. Obviously, we've got our normal stuff. Exclamation point win, exclamation point mystery in the chat. You could win a £50 hobby voucher just by watching the stream. You could also win a mini painted by me in a color scheme of your choice. The last giveaway model was this Wraith Lord. I keep wanting to call it a Wraith Knight, because in my head the Knights are the smaller ones and the Lords are the bigger ones, but the hierarchy is not what it is on the table. This is the last giveaway model. That's going to be on its way to fish as soon as I've taken some good photos of it. More on that in a minute. But this month, up for grabs on the last day of the month that we stream, which is Tuesday the 30th. It is the last day of the month. You could win a choice of Ragnar Blackmane. This is a beast of a model. All puns intended. You could win a Genius of the Occult Abominant. I love this model. It's got a power sledgehammer. What's not to love? What's not to love? Or you could win the mystery prize. No one knows what this mystery prize could be, except me. It will be something from the shelves of destiny. Not the shelves of shame. That would be a completely different set of shelves that are covered in completely different things. No. Shelves of destiny. Tune in on the last day of the month, be a subscriber, and you could be in the chance to win one of those things. My toenail collection, I cut my toes outside, so that's like, it's in a garden. You can come around and pick them up if you want. No, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. At all. Next up, we are on YouTube. If you don't already follow and you're on the stream right now, exclamation point YouTube, please go over there, give me a sub. Once we get to 100, which is very soon now, very soon, we'll be able to put out a proper URL, not the garbage one that YouTube has given me. This weekend, we've got loads of giveaways. I made a massive Instagram post with loads of videos about this. We've got an enormous pile of Rival Crafts basing kits. I got 10 of these bad boys to give away over the weekend. They're all sealed up now. We've got everything in there from a campfire theme to dark thistles to spring, summer, and autumn. Could be anything in those boxes. More mystery. But we're going to give those away all weekend whilst we paint this gargantuan Noble Demon Army. Some of it is up there. The rest of it is here because it takes longer than I thought to zenith or highlight the entire thing. Which does not bode well for this weekend. We're going to attempt to paint 1,838 points of Nurgle Demons yellow with Nurgle Garden bases in a weekend. All of that in one weekend. It's going to be tricky, but we'll make it. I'm sure we'll make it. The other two commands that we've got here, exclamation point Necron and exclamation point Marine, go there, vote on the model from each faction from the new Indomitus, what do they call it? Not a starter set, it was the... I've forgotten the word they used, but the big new 40k box, that one, the launch box, there we go. Not lunch box, that's something different. It's got a sandwich in it, not toy soldiers. Unless you've got toy soldiers for lunch, which is weird. Very weird. No toy soldiers for lunch. They're not tasty. Can attest to this. When we get our launch box, on launch weekend, we're going to give away not only one of the Necron minis of your choice, or one of the Marine minis of your choice, but whoever wins that Necron or that Marine will take away that painted model and the rest of the faction that's in the box, brand new on sprue as well. So, stay tuned to the Warhammer community site for more details on when that's released, and as soon as we know, we will set up something here for that release weekend. Have I seen those stupid bloody bike rules? They're fine. Everyone's whinging about the bike rules. Let's not forget, they're twice the wounds of a Primaris Marine. They've got more than twice the movement. They will have better guns, almost certainly, and they've got extra rules for close combat. If they're not 65 to 70 points a model, there's something wrong. Hurtus! Giving that sub, thank you very much, sir. Let's have a quick peek at the results of what you guys want to see me paint from both of those sections. I got an emote to say thank you for Hurtus' subscription. That's awesome. Thank you, Hurtus. For the Marine side, Conradson is being given a sub by Rocky. Rocky, you absolute weapon. Thank you very much, dude, but don't do that anymore. You know why. From the Marine side, people want the Judicia, because it's not Judicar, Judicia. That's got a strong set of votes. 12 votes for that. That's good. No love for the Chaplain. I think the Chaplain looks epic. But the Judicia, that's clearly the one so far. We're going to leave this open until the end of the stream on Sunday. So plenty of time to get your votes in. For the Necron, was there any doubt? Was there any doubt? What trolls have voted for this? Like, why? Why? I don't know why, but this clearly, the absolute beast mode Scorpet Lord, gonna be the one. Right, Rocky, let me just give Conradson his meeps. Thank you very much for that gift sub. Love you, brother. Currency KO. There you are. Conradson, you need to be spending these meeps, man. You got a lot of entries into the giveaway at the end of the month. So what did we miss in the chat when we were doing our updates? We got Des saying 45 points for the bikes. I say more. I say more. Greg, how you doing? Cell Virus. K-Sauce. What up? Purple. Let's get on with it. We need to paint the inside of all of these cells. Now, we're going to airbrush this. So some of you might be thinking, if you're going to airbrush all of this, why are you brushing it with a really bad rate of coverage? It's because when we paint this with the airbrush, the last thing we want to do is to put too much of a value across the entire area. So when you're applying paint with an airbrush, you get a cone of paint. Whatever is underneath that cone, bam, everything gets hit by paint. Didn't understand me? You've got lots of meeps, dude. Check your meeps. Exclamation point meep or meeps. On the last day of the month, it's our final stream, the 30th. If you type in exclamation point win, you'll get a bit more info. The reason we're doing this, like I said, airbrush puts out a constant stream of paint in that cone, right? We want to make sure we get into all of the edges, all the recesses, the corners of these shapes. Simply because we want the glow to be emanating from the middle of each of these cells. We don't really want a big fat glow all around this gold area. Cover up too much gold. And all that will happen there is instead of having a lot of glowing purple cells, you'll end up with just one large glowing purple cell, which won't be anything like as interesting. We're not necessarily doing purple OSL as when we're doing a purple glow. Some of it will be OSL. We will have bits that do cast light onto other areas. For those of you that don't know what OSL it means object source lighting. And what that really means is one part of the model makes it look like it's casting light onto another part, therefore one part has the glows. I did say just a minute ago, well, there's a bloody Mayflower or something in here, that we would talk about good photography. We've got some upgrades coming to the stream. I'm afraid the artist is not one of them. You're stuck with me. That's it. How did you guys get onto talking about guns? Obviously, slippery llama. Objectively sour lemons. It's subjectively sour lemons. Actually, you're nearly correct on that one. Some people don't find them sour. I am tomorrow going to commission a designer, freelance designer, to redo the stream graphics. Which I can't wait. I can't wait. Because I did all these graphics. These magnificent... It's this way because the camera's mirrored. These magnificent graphics. I did them all. I am responsible for all of this. Now you know who to blame, not to give credit to. Definitely blame. They're not good. It's like what you can't see on that because of where I cropped it is the like Shutterstock watermark all over. We get some sort of placeholder off over the top left corner. Yeah, it's going to look exactly like that. Bell end. So we've got brand new graphics, maybe some animations. Who knows? Greg, it's blatantly not happening. I'm not paying a designer to do that. I can just take a photo of that and slap it up there if I really want to annoy everyone. So we've got new graphics for the stream. Super, super exciting. Because finally the stream may look professional. I'm not necessarily saying that the person on the stream will look professional. No. No. And we won't be professional either. We will continue saying dumbass things and doing dumbass things in the sake of making sure we have fun on stream while we paint. We're definitely going to continue telling horrible stories that should never be told on air. Also, upgraded the hardware. I'm waiting for a video capture card to arrive. But today, we got a brand new toy. Big old mirrorless camera, 4K. So we're going to be able to record in 4K, which means that it can go through Streamlabs and come out at 1080 really crisply. So, I am really looking forward to that. That rocked up today. It's been on charge. It's now fully charged. But I need the video capture card to be able to play with it. So hopefully, in time for this weekend's crazy Nurgle Demonathon, which I was feeling really confident about until I started doing this Zenithal highlight, and it's taken forever. We'll have brand new camera setup, which would be awesome. So Fish, the first pictures that we're going to get of your Wraith Lord for Instagram will be taken on that camera. And it will probably make the paint job look really shit when it's super, super crisp. I'm assuming most people have seen that episode of Family Guy with the news reporter that's super hot. They're like, yeah, we got 4K. And all of the guys run home and they're like, yeah, 4K. And the news turns on and they're like, okay. It's probably going to be a lot like that. Jay, why not 40K? Well, because they haven't invented cameras that do that yet. We could just put an extra decimal point at the end. You know. It's about as consistent as good GW rules. There have been consistently good rules from GW for ages. As long as you play Space Marines, then you're fine. Everyone else... In 4K, we could see the shelf better and guess the mystery mini. You could, but the 4K camera's this one. But that one can be replaced with this one, which is a better camera. So we've got loads to piss around with before the weekend when we're going to stream for, God help me, probably 30 odd hours. Hey Ben, how you doing? Welcome to the stream, man. So nearly done on these bits. Then we've just got those panels to paint on the main body. I tried to get all this done off stream just so we could get on with the main stuff, but like I said, this flipping fly is annoying the shit out of me. You might see me do that more than once because I missed that. Son of a bitch. God, this is a more annoying stream than having like Novocaine for the souls on it. That super simple, Brett. Super simple. This was over a black primer, airbrushed Viking Gold from scale 75. Then carefully sort of zenithal, get some nice gradiented highlights. I'm losing my shit over this fucking thing. Hairdryer it. That'll sort it out. Yeah, then we've got a little bit of Dwarf Gold, which is one of the best golds you will ever find, also scale 75. And then a mix of Dwarf Gold and Vallejo Silver from their Metallics range for the highlight. Now once that had been done, we made our own version of Reichland Flesh Shade. So, piss off. Nearly. I hit the airbrush instead. Ow. Never mind. Yeah, my own version of Reichland Flesh Shade. So all of these have been shaded with this homegrown Reichland Flesh Shade for all of the dark areas on this sort of bone carapace, right? The recipe for it, I'll read out. Fake Flesh Shade. 24 drops of flow improver. This is even for a small batch. 6 drops of Bogan Brown. 5 drops of Rhine Oxide. And then 1 drop of Vallejo Fire Red. That's the recipe. It took me about 3 to 4 hours to come up with that. A little bit of trial and error. We got there in the end. But that's the recipe. And you use that and you just fire it down towards the base of it. Once that was done, we glossed it. We oil washed it with some burnt umber. Cleaned up the oil washes. Sorted out. You do get a nice finish by the end of it. I like it. It's now on YouTube. There you go, man. You can go there, get it anytime you want. We'll even put it in the show notes if you want. So you search the description, Fake Flesh Shade. Sorted. Right. These bits to do, and then we can get the airbrush out and crack on with some real painting. None of this awful base coating rubbish. After the gloss and wash, doesn't it go really shiny? Yes, which is why you then hit it with a matte varnish. And then I know a lot of people will refuse to matte varnish any metallics. And I get why. Like, I understand it, but if you've done your highlights right, it's never a problem. Like, people that want metallics to be super, super shiny and look like metal, really, you don't need to be using acrylic paints. You need to be using like alcohol-based paints to get that actual metal look to something. That's really what you're after. So you could then go back in and re-gloss and all that sort of stuff, but honestly, once you've smashed it all over with an oil wash, that's going to take away a lot of the gloss anyway. And the reason I then hit it after that, so before I did any of the brushed highlights, the reason I then hit it straight away with that matte varnish was to keep all the oil paint on there. Didn't want any of that smudging off. Didn't want any of that going anywhere. I want to keep that nice and strong in all the recesses and as battle damage and so on and so forth on the Mini. And as always, Tester's Dull Coat. Firestorm Games in Cardiff will sell it. Model display products, which is I've forgotten where they're based, but it's not a billion miles away from here. Both of those, you can get it. You can gloss it again after if you want, but this has been hit with the best matte varnish that you'll find. Does that not look shiny enough? Got 3 cans. When I get down to 3 cans, I start looking around for it again, because that's how important it is to me. That's how much I use it. God Emperor Bob and blue. God damn. Blue Yedan Furry. Blue-eyed and furry. Right. There we go. Not shiny enough, you're not blind. Tune into that Noble Demon stream this weekend. The amount of yellow that's going to come out on there, you'll go blind by the end of that stream. It's going to be ferociously bright altogether. Even Stevie Wonder would go blind from looking at that. Like, more blind. Blinder. That's what would happen. Right. And some of this we will need to go back over with a brush. Certainly all of these panels around the back where we're not going to be using the airbrush for risk of hitting anything else. We do need to get another smooth coat on. But for everything else, like the front facings on these, it doesn't matter how patchy these dry. Totally doesn't matter. Can't see it. Ah! Fuck's sake. Blue-eyed and furry. This is Ben. This is my client, everyone. God, I'm glad we had to delete all our previous Twitch clips and streams and everything, because God, I talk shit about you on this. I totally haven't. Welcome to the stream, Ben. I love you. You must be buzzing about the new Necron stuff, man. Absolutely buzzing. That too. So then Mohawk's mess up. It's going to be painting piss-coloured demons. No, mate. Trust me. If it comes out of you the colour we're going to paint those demons, then you probably need to stop drinking Monster or whatever it is that's causing that. I can't wait though, it's going to be an epic weekend. Rival Crafts giveaways, always feel good giving those away. We've got the Imperial Fist giveaway at the end of the stream because he's painted in the same colours as the majority of those demons, and that's going to include something that I'm not going to talk to you guys about, as well as some inks and one of those Imperial Fist models, just so you can give it a go yourself. It's fine about all of us, thinks he's a way to show affection. Shut up, you wanker. Love you, Greg. Yes, that's totally it. If normally, the more polite I am to somebody, and this goes for real life and like the office and stuff as well, the more polite I am to somebody, and the little, the smaller amount of piss taking I do, means I really don't like you. If I am nothing but polite to you, I probably think you're right up there with Hitler. Agrax does not taste nice. Aco's, I always have trouble watching the stream. It keeps buffering and playing small pieces. Damn. Have we dropped any frames? Literally 0 frames. So that might just be you, I'm afraid, pal. Zen, how you doing, mate? Yeah, it says maximum number of shots. I mentioned Thunderfire, which is 43 shots. You're totally right, Des. But it also says against larger enemy units. So that could still mean 11 plus. So, you know, it's out there as to how that rule is interpreted for D3 and multiple D6 weaponry. But I'm still okay with it if it just protects me from double one. If that's the only thing I get out of that rule is, oh, I rolled double one. Well, at least I get one extra shot against a unit of 6 or more. I'm happy. Of course, if that is like each dice that you roll. Whew. Whew, mama. That's going to be strong. It's probably not going to make me want to take a second Crusader with Battle Cannon. Or sorry, even a Crusader with Battle Cannon. I normally take just thermals on mine. But it depends on the points changes, basically. I feel so light now. I was hurt by that bell end comment, but now, there you are, see? There you go. Wait, is that what's so nice to me? I just told you to fuck off. Fair enough. Rocky! Stop it, man. Stop it. Stop this shit. Honestly, mate, you know. We had that chat today. Stop this. Got more important things. Blue. God, I'm going to have to try and spell your name. Just search for Blue. There can't be that many. There was a few. Blue-eyed and furry. There you go, mate. You've been given a sub by the legend himself, Rocky Balboa. That man's given out 342 gift subs in this channel, which is bordering on lunacy. It's well past insanity. And he's been in the cusp of madness for quite some time. Thank you very much, though, brother. Really appreciate it. Ben, if you don't know what that means, also BE20252. Hi, Ben. We've got another Ben. How's it going? Hope you're benning along quite well. If you're unsure what to do with that sub, exclamation point win and exclamation point mystery in the chat will be your friends. George, no song requests. Sad day. The music died. Don McLean sang it and everything. Get it, but minimum would be 3 for 6 plus, 6 for 11 plus. Minimum means 12. So you think interpret the way it's written. The way it's written, if you take the rule. In fact, you know what? I'll break this down. Because I've just done this in another chat. Right. Cool, can't see his number. Let's click over here. Blast weapons, right? If a blast weapon targets a unit that's between 6 and 10 models, it always makes a minimum of 3 attacks. That says the weapon makes a minimum of 3 attacks. Alright? If, when determining how many attacks are made with the weapon, the dice rolled results in less than 3 attacks being made, make 3 attacks instead. For example, grenade d6, blah blah blah, right? What that really means is, if you go into the shooting phase section of the 8th rulebook, and I can't imagine 9th being too different in terms of the shooting phase, because they probably would have said something about that by now if it was. A weapon makes a number of attacks indicated by its type on its profile. So if it was a autocannon, it would say heavy 2, for instance. So that weapon makes 2 attacks. If it rolls a random number of attacks, then you roll that number, and then that is how many attacks the weapon makes. So the way it works, if we take 8th's shooting rules and compare them to what that article says for blast weaponry, for weapons that roll multiple d6s, you roll all of your dice at once. So say it's a 4d6 weapon like the Imperial Guard Wyvern. You roll 4d6. If you roll a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 6, you don't say, right, okay, so I'm going to resolve the 1 attack and roll 1 dice, and then I've got to resolve the 3 attack and roll 3 dice, because the weapon has 4d6, and because they're put right next to each other, and it's not 4 lots of d6, or roll 4 individual d6, and then each one makes its stacks. Because it's written as 4d6, it's a multiplicative. So you just take all 4 dice, roll them together, add them up. Job done. Which is why I'm guessing, and I think I've got a decent chance of being correct on this. It's why I'm guessing that for weapons that fire 2d6 or 3d3 or anything like that, for units of 6, you're still just going to get 3 mits. So that will never... Yeah, if it works that way, the Wyvern will only ever get a minimum of 4 shots because it rolls 4 dice. Same as the Thunderfire Cannon rolls 4d3, right? And frankly, Thunderfire Cannons are fucking broken enough as they are. They don't need any extra help at all. So, from Rocky, technical question. If you're painting some, say, Wolfen that's already been assembled, would you paint the armor plates first and mask and then paint the skin, or paint the armor with a brush later? I'd paint all of the armor, but I wouldn't then paint the skin. Well, there's enough skin on the Wolfen that you probably could. To be honest, I wouldn't even mask the armor. I'd just paint it all with an airbrush. Like, I've got the control. I can do that. Wee Man Blade, thank you for that follow. Yeah, I'd probably airbrush the skin as well. What you could do, if you were feeling a little bit less confident about that, is you could just spray the entire model black, get your white ink in your airbrush, and just give it a zenithal all over. So this looks very white on stream, but obviously you can see it's only white from the top. And it's not a true zenithal, because a true zenithal would be literally just from there. We've gone from about 45 degrees, so it's more of a shade. You could do that, and then just brush on glazes for the armor and the skin tones. So that's a way to do it, like you've asked, for someone that has no control. Ben, thank you for that follow, dude. A weapon that fires 1d3 will get max as long as you're firing at 6 or more. Yeah. No, I read the quote, Des, and they very carefully didn't mention the size of the unit that it was firing at. It just said larger units, I think. They have got the best writing team at the moment, I swear to you, because they have kept everyone on the absolute cusp of too much hype for weeks and weeks now. Tiny bits of teasing stuff here and there. A Tale of Two Boxes article was frankly fucking masterful, because they tell you all about 2 boxes at the start of the article with the name of it, right? Then they tell you all about how you can pre-order the Lumineth box. And they say absolutely fuck all about No 40k. Other than it's coming soon. It's great. It's great. I think what they're doing is epic. We don't see it. I have no idea how Twitch works. It's alright, man. Neither do I. Just sit here and paint, and then occasionally people turn up and watch. But for those of you that are watching, and I know I've harped on about this a lot, I'm just trying to get to 100 subs so we can change the URL. If you haven't already subscribed on YouTube, please !YouTube in the chat. Head on over there. Give us a sub. Once we hit 100, I can stop whinging about it, and we can get on with our lives, basically. It means I can then promote it properly on things like Instagram and so on by giving someone a URL that's recognizable to go to, and not some weird Google gibberish. Pearl Jam, what up, man? Right, nearly done. It's nearly time to get the airbrush out. Ben, I'm going to be painting all of these bits of purple with the airbrush. And we're going to use no masking whatsoever. So if this goes horribly wrong, I'm starting again. So if it goes wrong, you won't get these in time for 9th launch. That's a fact. Alright, there you go. Let's just tidy that up. Boom. Paint rivets on a big ass Forge we're playing, or go get food. Paint the rivets, man. Just paint the rivets. Just get it done. Just get it done. That's all you need to do. Just get it done. Right. Wet palette away. So I actually found the little cap for my airbrush the other day, because with all of the batch painting that I'm doing for these bloody demons, the thought of like waving the thing around like this and throwing black primer or yellow ink over something else, like, no, can't deal with that right now. Cannot deal with that. So actually use the cap. I've had this airbrush for 2.5 odd years. I finally used the airbrush cap. Right, first things first, gloves. I hate getting paint on my hands. Just, it annoys me. I don't know why it annoys me. Really annoys me. It said larger, so 11 plus minimum shots would be 6. No, if it's 11 plus, you get the full number of shots. So from a Thunderfire, it would be 12. From the Relic Scorpius, it's odd, because it fires 3d3 twice. So it might be that the second round of shooting, it has to take us a separate time. Who knows? Right, Flow Improver. This stuff is the currency of the apocalypse. In fact, when the apocalypse started, despite the fact we already had a full bottle, you people thought you went out and panic bought more Flow Improver. We had a full bottle, we had about a third of a bottle, and I went and bought another bottle because this stuff is super, super good. You need this. If you're airbrushing and you don't have this, then as far as I'm concerned, you're probably doing it a little bit wrong. Use Flow Improver because it is a drying retarder. And what that really means is it slows down the rate of which paint dries. That's kind of it. That's it. It also thins your paint a little bit. Everyone likes thin paint, right? Going on with our purple, we got Nagaroth Knight from G-Dubs. Can't wait for the highlight. This is my favourite paint ever. I love this. Then we're painting your Necrons pink. Getting pink crons. Lots of hair memes. There's no hair memes on here, Ben. We know you're sensitive to this. I don't know why you're so sensitive to it. There's nothing there to be sensitive about, right? What was the bet we had? We didn't have a bet for next Hellstorm. We did, didn't we? We had a bet. Ricardo, question. I've got my airbrush and I'm trying it out, but it's quite hard. I mix the paint 50-50 Flow Improver and thinner, but get some dried flecks of paint in the cup. What could it be? Current spray on 30 psi, is that okay? 30 psi is absolutely fine, dude. I go much, much higher than that, but only because I like the control it gives me. That's totally fine. I mean, love crons, Jay. Oh, yeah. If you get dried flecks of paint in the cup, it could just be where you've mixed the paint. Part of that didn't have Flow Improver. To be honest, mate, I'm going to spray this now. I will still get dry paint in the cup. It'll happen. Right? Even after you've done like the good old backflow and everything else to help percolate the pot, mix everything together, where you've got that tide mark of purple paint, that will dry just as paint dries. You know, that's normal. Get yourself a toothbrush and just scrub it out when you clean your airbrush at the end of the session. So this is thinned a little bit more than 50-50, and the reason behind that is we don't want to get any speckling. So we're going to paint all these purple bits of beam. We're not going to paint this gem because we don't need to paint that much more than we already have for now. What we're going to do is come very close to it, and we're just evening out the paint colour right now. So Ben, I'm just doing this without looking, alright? If I get paint on the model, like I said, I'll just repaint the whole thing. Yeah? All this is doing is stopping any of our brush strokes from shining through. We talked very briefly about hobby crimes and how to get away with them, such as, well, I left a bit of the the oil wash on the model, so that's battle damage now. You know, those kinds of things lead quite frequently to some better looking models because they're organic. I don't mean they've grown on it, but I mean they've happened by sheer coincidence. You haven't tried to draw on a pattern that is meant to be random, for instance, like most battle damage would be. Something that I learnt when I was a chef is that it's very difficult to plate up a meal in a fashion that is both tidy and random. You end up making patterns which attract the eye's attention. Don't really want that. So when doing battle damage, oil washing is a great way to do it because you get these little bits and pieces on there that you can just make a feature out of. So, just evening out everything we've got on here. Did a reasonably okay job of this bit anyway, as far as the base coat went. But it's just important to make sure there's no bits of the undercoat or any of the bone that we've used previously shining through on that. Getting underneath. Hit these areas. I'm going to do this on everything we've painted purple. Now, some parts, the parts where we do want a little bit of object source lighting rather than just a glow, such as on the Giganto Doomsday Cannon of Doom. It's probably got a real name that is nothing like that. But I don't care, that's what I'm calling it now. The Giganto Doomsday Cannon of Doom. On there, we are going to be blurring our edges to make sure we've got a glow effect. I want all the power to have come from there. Now, if you're using your airbrush and you're thinking, right, this is tricky. I want to get this bit, but I really don't want to hit this bit down here. You've obviously got things like Tamiya tape and stuff you can use. You can just wrap it in cling film. That works real well. You've also got a hand that's covered in the glove. And there's nothing wrong with you just sort of finding ways to mask it off. So if I do that, I've masked that area with my thumb. So you can come right down to the bottom here and spray this. If I'm worried about this area, we can just do that. Pinch it off with a finger. Pinch it off. Don't use your finger to help you pinch it off, that's gross. And then by airbrushing these nice flat surfaces, we'll end up with a much better purple than if we tried 4 or 5 or even 10 potential coats with a brush. Orcrist! Des, you are like a ninja with these shoutouts, man. Top mod. Top mod. How you doing, brother? If you're not following Orcrist, go give this man a follow. Lover of poutine. Painter of epic minis. The best thing to come out of Canada since Wolverine. Wow. Certainly better than some of the films, actually. Really. Hot and sweaty, just put in 25,000 steps. Damn. What's that in, like, real distance? Like, is that... What's that in, like, miles or kilometers or something similar? Because that sounds like a hell of a lot. Aren't we meant to walk like 3,000 steps a day or something? So that's a week and a bonus day's worth. That's 8 days worth. Poutine is great, but you have to try the all-dressed poutine. I'm afraid that with completely unclothed is the only way to eat poutine, man. That's a long way, dude. Congrats. That's a bit of a milestone. Christ. The puns, they're so bad. Right, because I'm right-handed, we have to do it this way. But you can see we just easily masked off part of the mini with our thumb. Not having to worry about getting paint on any of that. Obviously, don't spray your fingers and then grab a different part of the mini, because self-inflicted at that point. Right, while we're at this angle, let's paint his balls. Big old crystal ball. Now this we will have glowing a little bit actually. So, to help simulate that, I'm going to cover off this part of the model. I'm going to back our airbrush off a little bit. And then, we're just going to feather a bit of that purple around the edges. Don't want to go crazy. We want to tint this area lightly with purple, not paint it purple. Imagine that the look we're going for is of a purple light glowing on an already lit surface. It's just going to tint the colour a little bit. It's not going to suddenly be purple. Fries topped with sour cream, ground taco meat, jalapenos, cheese curds, nacho cheese, green something. That sounds good. That sounds good. Oh, I love jalapenos. I could probably just about eat my body weight in jalapeno cheese poppers before collapsing. As long as I don't get any fatter between now and trying that, we'll be okay. There's a little bit of purple, you can see that just glowing out onto there. Don't want too much, just a suggestion. On these buttons, same deal. So here, we're going to rock the airbrush trigger back and forth, get a tiny bit of paint out, let that dry by the next bit of air that goes through the model, through the airbrush onto the model. Just looking for that little sort of purple fuzz around those buttons. Not quite enough on stream. There's a bit more in person. I'm going to stop there. It should be, you can just about see that on stream. Up close, it's a little bit more, well, it's a lot more purple than that, I'm not going to lie. Let's do this one as well. There we go, and now we can go back to this section. Not to worry about masking, I think we've got this. And then this last bit. Boom. Ben, I'm telling you, this is much, much less hassle than painting the Necron pylon. One time I had a burger and the bun was made out of jalapeno poppers. Wow. Wow. That's... Damn. Damn, that's savage, but so good. So good. Right. More purple balls. This, we're just going to even out the colour. This one won't be glowing. He won't be sat on glowing purple balls. It will just have its own little bit of glow, not OSL glowing. Your heart hurts just thinking about that. I mean... My heart would just go quietly into the night eating that, I think. Alright, a little bit on these rods. And we're okay with this casting a little bit of a glow. Because we just are. That won't be a lot of a glow though. You won't see this part, and the only reason I'm doing this, and the only reason we painted that bit purple in the first place, we just said if you are looking into the cockpit, like the driver's seat, a little bit more than just a passing glance, there's something interesting in the background. And the back of his chair, obviously this is going to be glowing, and this is going to put a glow onto the surrounding area. So that's the backing to the chair. So all we're going to do is just fuzz out a little purple, same as we did on the console, just in there. So you see it's a very soft purple. That's the entire point. It shouldn't be super dark. It's going over the bone. We want this to be lit up. We'll even come down there a little bit. Same this side. This is all about just keeping your brush pressure on the trigger exact. Sort of locking yourself into one position with your trigger finger, or thumb in my case. And then just going for it. Just take your time over it. Let's fuzz out a little onto the top of this. Even these sides up a little. Like so. Next up, we've got the boss. So for the boss, he's got purple eyes. Has anyone ever seen someone paint eyeballs with an airbrush before? Let's get in. Well, we'll zoom the camera in rather than try and move into the camera. That makes more sense. Hey you, over there. He's got a black eye. Let's give him the other one. There should be no jokes made about that. A little bit more on the underside of the cheek. Like so. There you go. So I started the glow for those. Probably won't do anything else on that bit. But what we do want to do, zoom all the way back out. This guy sat on a chair and he's about sort of here. This hand is in contact with the keyboard. We've got glowing buttons on the keyboard, right? If they're glowing and they're emitting light in straight lines all around them. Which means the underside of his hand would have a glow as it comes in and reaches for the button. So that's him done. We've got the last piece now. Still with the base coats. And in this one, we are going to start making everything glow a little bit. Actually emit light. This is going to be a lot more object source lighting than just having a bit of a glowy effect from the inside. So we're not talking about just its own sense of illumination, but illumination that casts light that changes something else on the Mini. So we've got these little bits of like power cable, whatever they are, all the ones down the barrel of the gun. We've got this, which is going to be more of a glow than OSL. I'm going to keep this nice and subtle. But this we're going for. So all of these areas. Start fuzzing these out. And we're just looking for that border to start appearing. Back off a little bit, let the overspray do what it do. And then the light would come out onto here. So you've got a nice little purple border to that, where it's glowing, but this part it would actually be casting light onto. The surround for it would be light that's reflected back at the source, essentially. Whereas this should be hit pretty heavily, because the light coming out of there will be passing directly over this. Whenever you paint any kind of light sourcing at all on a Mini, you still have to obey the rules of physics to a degree. Mostly because the people that are looking at your Mini understand, at least from a sort of intrinsic perspective, how light works. They know if they take a torch, and shine it up underneath their face, they'll hit their nose, their cheeks, and their eyebrow, and so on and so forth. That bit will be lit up, but the rest of it won't be. Then when they turn on a light in a house, how their shadows are expected to work. When it comes to a mini, to stop your audience, to stop the person looking at it, having that kind of jarring, something doesn't look right effect, you have to take account of all of these things. You have to study light a little bit. On the plus side, you can all do that from the comfort of your own home by just opening your eyes and looking around. That one's completely safe to do during the pandemic. There you go. Study light effects from home. So again, build up the fuzz as this emits a glow around it. You see this is much darker here on the underside because it's not got the highlights that the top side had. Hit that area. George, welcome back, dude. Alright. These areas. Get right in there. In the recess. Then start just building the fuzz up around it. Nice little hint of purple going on. We want to avoid these areas as much as possible. So when the light comes out of here, let's use a cocktail stick because we've got one hanging about. When the light comes out of here, it would hit the sides of this, but it probably wouldn't be able to go up and on top of here. The light waves don't bend. So these need to be silver. These can have that fuzz, that little glow applied to them, and this blatantly needs to be the brightest part. But this has to stay its base colour. George, why no song requests? Very simple, Matt. I don't want to get my stream taken down. So streamers, myself included, have been streaming YouTube videos through OBS or some other bot to use as music for their streams. And that's totally not allowed. Because as an affiliate, I make money out of the streams. And so I am making money off of other people's content, and that's just bad in general anyway. Like, we shouldn't do that, whether it was artists or just as normal human beings. You know, it's essentially IP theft, right? So we shouldn't have been doing it, but because it's a cool part of the stream, and I loved having the music that you guys were queuing up for the most part, at least. I stick to this one side, and then we'll do the other side all at once, rather than turning the mini around all the time. So we had song requests. It was great. Absolutely great. Very recently, Time Warner and Universal... Oh, wow, we should retire that. We should retire that because the command is no longer valid. George, you did have exactly one job. But I'm afraid now you've been made redundant. You're about to delete !1 job. This is irreversible. Do you wish to proceed? Not really, but we're gonna. There you go. There you go. Sorry, man. But anyway, Time Warner and Universal now have bots that will not only look through live streams, but will look through things like your clips, your VODs, all that sort of stuff. And if you're playing any of their tunes that happen to be copyrighted, they will automatically, like the bot will do this itself, it's become self-aware. The bot will automatically issue a Digital Media Copyright Act, DMCA notice, which can literally just shut your stream down. And you can face some fines and everything else. So, yeah, that's why. So I spent an afternoon trawling through YouTube, came up with the playlist that we've got now, which I like, to be honest. A lot of music here, whilst I wouldn't necessarily put it on in place of like the Foo Fighters or something. It's a good tune. I'm digging it. I cleaned out a lot of the commands. Because that command linked to a clip. And so that one had to go in case the clip contained music. Because the clip was also deleted as well. So, yeah. It is what it is, man. I'm not going to fight it. It has it has meant that we've obviously changed everything here a bit, but we were just getting away with it. It wasn't what we were meant to be doing, and if people stole my IP and played it as their own, which obviously we weren't doing in music, I'd be upset. You know, if people started putting my stuff up on their own Instagrams or YouTubes or whatever without crediting me, I'd be upset. And it's not like we were doing that. We weren't. We weren't crediting anyone. So, can I get a new one job command? You don't even. You barely have a job. This channel has, in 14 months of being an affiliate, only had to ban one person, which was a bot. That's it. So the mods here don't have to do a lot. However, I do fully respect the efforts that all of the mods put in. Getting shout outs for people like Orchrist, who's in the chat right now. So you guys do work. That's right, we said do. And we need to do something as a mod reward, I think. Was it Fish? It wasn't Fish, no. Fish was the... Dez was the bannee. He's the guy that laid down that ban hammer strong, because Macy was off. It was the one time we needed Macy to be his modly self. To do an actual banning. He wasn't there. Nor Chris, you did nothing. You just here. Her Salcero, what up, man? Ooh, I bought some beer today. I may have splurged quite badly on Amazon recently. So we had the camera that arrived today. We've got capture cards hopefully arriving by Friday. Hopefully. Possibly not, but hopefully. Bought a little bourbon. Bought a little whiskey. That was good. Bought some beer from Brewdog, which I cannot wait for the weekend to try. This is going to help me through our 7... No, we couldn't be at 17. What's the latest we'd end up having a beer? Probably about 7 o'clock. So that would be... Wow. About hour 9 of the stream. That's going to help. So this is one of their new and possibly slightly limited beers, and I can't wait to try it. It is Brewdog joining forces with Evil Twin Brewery. Evil Twin are an amazing, fucking amazing brewer out in the States. They produce some crazily good beer. But it is a 9% nitro Vietnamese coffee Imperial Stout. Can't wait. George, I like beer that is as strong as wine. Give me a stout that hits 10% and I'm a happy boy. Anything that comes close to it will usually be okay. If it's sort of 14 to 15%, I'm in for a good evening. Real heavy, really alcoholic. It's going to have a lot of body to it at that point. Did you notice that GW have painted the basis of the new box black? What, the new Indomitus stuff they've done black base rims for? Have they really? I need to look this up. They have! Yes! Yes! So all of you painting brown base rims, shove it! So happy. Dude, I love you. You're the most amazing human being for putting that out. Fuck everyone with a brown base rim. Because now they've not even got the, oh, this is how the heavy metal team do it excuse. Epic. Epic. Most exciting thing about ninth, black base rims. Doom, boom, boom. This is a bit like the Prodigy. Yes. George, you cannot. You can't say that. Alright? That's. I get it. And I understand the joke, but some people will not. Or Chris, I have had the battle of fucking black base rims with people for months. In fact, longer than that. Years. If you put a black base rim on something, what you're actually doing is snapping the model into focus. You're putting a border on it that really carefully delineates where the thing that people are looking at starts. And so nobody even sees the base rim at all until they've like really stopped and started looking at the model. And admittedly, if people are looking at the base rim, you haven't painted the model well enough anyway. That's a given, right? But you should do everything possible, in my opinion, to make sure people are looking at the art that you've done, not some random bit of plastic. I would love to know why after years you steal your drive where you went black now. Because they've been watching my stream, man. That's all it is. No, it's because Stu Black finally got his way over, I don't know, Norman Brown or something. Right, done the Mega Cannon of Death. Currently, all it looks is purple. That's fine. We're going to sort that. Now let's get all these bits. For these, we do want a little bit of a glow, but we don't want the whole thing to be one mass of purple. So we're just going to fudge the edges a little bit with this. We're not trying to make the entire thing just look like a big purple circle, like that would just look shit. Oh, black base rims. Amaze balls. Oh, there's some GW fanboys. I'm going to wind up so hard over that. I put with rum, oat chips, and the English barley wine waits for you. I'll collect the box. Nice, mate. Nice. Dude, I got the Nitro Vietnamese coffee stout at 9%. That looked delicious. I bought 8. I don't think I've ever had anything by Evil Twin that I haven't at least enjoyed. There's been a few things that have been not as good as some of their other stuff, but everything's at least been enjoyable. No, mate, I try not to drink during the week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday only, because I realised that I was drinking too much. So, but that's what lockdown I think has done to a lot of people. It's just like, oh, I might as well just have a beer. Trying to avoid that. So, it doesn't like it. You know what the next 7 giveaways are in a mystery box. Oh, this was quite weighty. If I don't like it, I'll just age it. Beer ages. Same as anything else, you can age it. You can leave it for however long you want, basically. Especially in a tin, it almost certainly won't go bad. So hopefully you can see what we're getting up to here. We're leaving plenty of space in between each of these 8 lights. So there's loads of gold that's still showing up around there. When we get to the highlights for this in a minute, which we're not too far away from, I think this is the last part of purple that we've got to sort of paint with a base color. When we get to that next stage, it'll be a lot more apparent how this is going to look by the time it's finished. Because that next stage is mixing this with the best pigment in the world. Vallejo calls it sunset red. I call it, affectionately, hooker lipstick pink. Oh yeah. Oh yeah! Evil Twin, Clyde, Wharton, Colonel have never had a bad one. Fair. Right. We should do. No weekend stream hour 22. After a heroic effort, Jay is at the moment struggling to remain awake, slipping in and out of sleep, waking every few minutes, convinced that several hours have passed. Becoming increasingly stressed by this, Jay begins slapping and shouting abuse at himself to get back into the zone. At this point, the stream becomes more and more contentious. Fair. Beer is like paint. Shake it thoroughly before opening. No. No. Where can you send me a private message? Instagram is normally the best way to get in touch with me. Discord, obviously, works quite well. Yeah, we'll see what that looks like first. Right, this paint is super thick. It's not one of their air colors at all. It's just regular model color, sunset red, but it is an amazing, amazing pink. This is super, super vibrant. Look at that. The reason that we're using this, you call it whore red. It's named after your ex. It's cheap, trashy, and spreads easily. It's fair. Possibly harsh. I'd never met her, but we'll say fair. Whip review of today's work, of Jay's work. I'm seeing fades. I'm seeing edge highlights. I'm seeing good tone changes. Good job, Jay. Win some meeps. Nice. Thanks a lot, man. As long as we hit all those points, we've done a good job, right? Okay. That's better. So I'm sure GW do a colour that's similar to this, but I love the intensity and the pigment strength you get out of it. You might need to add a bit more flow and proof, because that paint, like I said, is not an air paint at all. It's their model colour range, which is not like painting with treacle, but when you're doing any sort of light sourcing, you can't have speckling. Any time you guys have ever seen something that's lit up, and we usually use a candle on a table sort of drawing for this, but I've done that to death. We need candle on a pirate's head on a pumpkin. That's what we need. But light doesn't granulate around the edges. Like that corona of light goes from being the brightest possible thing in the middle to dissipating entirely as the light waves run out of energy from bouncing off loads of shit before they can get back into your eyes, right? So you need to make sure that the same happens to your model. You can't have a bit of light that suddenly becomes grainy at the edges. That's not the way it works. And this goes back to what we were saying earlier on about making sure that when you paint something that is using an effect like this, like light, that it obeys the rules so that your audience, the people looking at your model, can understand exactly what you're doing. Crown Blade, don't piss on my bonfire, man. That's a black base under some harsh studio light with no contrast. Right, the chair balls. We're just going to get a highlight on this. This is not going to have a glowing effect, but it just needs a highlight. And that's all we're doing with this. This is not to provide any external illumination from this point. We're just making it a lighter purple. In this case, we're making it a slight pink colour. This is fine. Ben, if you're watching this and you're worried about why I'm painting your Necrons pink, the pylon and the purple for that was made exactly the same way as this. This middle step is going to provide a lot of richness to the colour. That's better. It's also just going to really make it pop. Especially seeing as the next highlight colour we're going to use is a light bone, which is going to start to desaturate this. By going with the pink now and keeping it super vibrant, when we knock it down a notch with that desaturating colour, it's going to leave it still nice and vibrant. Mr. McPherson says, I'm not a fan of plasma effects that look more like leaking ink than glowing light. Actual light given off isn't always the same colour as the object providing the light. You're absolutely right. Look at a candle. Everyone sees a candle as yellow, but the light isn't really. Not really. Right, on these, we're aiming for the central section. I think we do need to thin this down a little bit more. We're still getting a little speckling. So let's just dump a load of flow improver in this now. This music is just good. Stronger light means stronger shadows. Yes. Harsher light, definitely. So imagine, like, we've all been to clubs and pubs and things where at closing time they put on what are called the ugly lights. If there's any woman watching the stream, you'll know exactly what I mean. And these are the lights that you're like, it's 2:45 a.m. Makeup went on at 8. I've been dancing and drinking all night. And I've just pulled. So I had to get out before those lights go on. That's why they're so harsh. It makes the lasses leave, which means that the guys will leave. It is that simple. Just need to clean the tip. Warning lights. You could call it that, yeah. But they're super bright, like halogen bulbs or all that sort of shit, right? Those lights provide an absolute cut-off to the shadow because the light itself is so bright that it stops the gradient from light to dark. It just goes from there is light or there is no light. That's it. The go to fuck home lighting. James, oh, you came in at exactly the right point. You know those lights. How many times have you turned on those lights in your life? How you doing, brother? You excited about 9th? You must be buzzing about it. Right, let's paint the back of his chair. So we're going to leave the darker purple. Literally thousands, yep. You'll leave the darker purple in the outside here. All the bits in the middle are going to start getting that nice bright line. No manipulate rights. No manipulate radiator. I actually put paint on something today. Holy shit balls. What were you painting, dude? What were you... I almost refuse to believe this. You'll have to get it in the whip, man. Go to Discord. Look in the work in progress channel. Upload a pic. Let's see. Let's see actual proof. Right, building the purple up on this joint here, where we get the back of the chair just changing a step. And we come in and hit more for this further down. Still leaving that purple in the recesses though. And notice we haven't touched any of the purple at the top of the chair. That is staying nice and dark. This is where the light is. GSC Wolf Quad. Nice, dude. I'm guessing the vehicles can move and fire heavy weapons has just made that a little bit more exciting for you. Alright, let's do this next. So this is the ribcage bit. These will not be providing a glowing light. These will just glow from within. I'm going to say it again. For those of you that have just joined the stream or didn't hear me say it, either of the many times I've said it already in the stream, exclamation point YouTube in the chat. Go give me a sub over there. Currently, all we're uploading is the stream VODs. So as soon as the stream is finished, we export it to YouTube. It goes on there. It means there's always a record of the stream, which means... okay, I thought it was a vehicle. That's a shame. Is it just infantry that can't move and fire heavy weapons, or is it vehicles that can do it? But anyway, having everything on YouTube means that if you've seen a technique in one video and you're like, I'm going to remember that for future use, you've now got it there. We're no longer limited by the Twitch 14 days for non-partners to have their VODs stored. YouTube will store that shit forever. Well, you know, as near as makes no difference. Forever. So go give us a sub. As soon as we hit 100, then we can start actually pushing it on other social media platforms and so on. We'll probably even do some weird kind of like win a thing giveaway. Maybe a start collecting box. What else should I bribe people into liking me on YouTube with? You know. So now we're starting to build up that little bit in the middle. You see the difference between very flat and suddenly interesting over here. Infantry, the only thing to get minus one to shoot heavy when moving. Okay, there we go, man. Did you upload the streams from last month too? You won't upload? No, I won't upload them, mate. They contain music. YouTube will have a bit of a fit about it. And also, every now and again, throughout quite a lot of those VODs, the sound will be muted. Because of the music we've used. The having to stop song requesting is what's made me push YouTube now. Because now we have free-to-use music, royalty-free music. We don't have to worry about any sound cut out because I played The Pretender or something, you know. We're not that far off 100 subs now, and once we hit that 100 mark, we get a custom URL, so I can stop harping on about it so much here. So just fading in this pink. You see, I'm not too worried about the fact there's stuff in the background. So when we're spraying here, for instance, I'm not worried about the pink hitting here, because I know where my brush is aimed at, and any tiny bits of pink that go past are going to be so small that they won't colour the mini in. If it leaves the smallest bit of pink on there, which it will do, you won't notice it. It takes several passes up close for a lot of paint to colour this nice and bright. So it's going to take more than just a little bit up there. James, you legend. Thank you very much, sir. Oh, I can't wait for 9th. Because hopefully by the time that drops, we'll actually be able to go and play games and have tournaments. And fucking I can't wait for that. Especially now that Knights have got a few extra rules. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Makes sense, Macy? Everyone give Macy a follow on YouTube as well. Sorry, a sub on YouTube. You might actually have a real URL though. So again, just going around all of these bits. It takes several passes to get a nice strong colour built up. We've only got one more airbrushed highlight to go on top of these. So we need to do enough to get that purpley pink showing up nice and strong. Otherwise, what's been the point of doing it, right? Because we're using paint that's so thin, we don't have to worry about building up our highlights with a different colour or adding brighter colours to it to change up the balance like that. Just go back over with the same thing again and again and again, and this gives us that super smooth transition. Because we're painting essentially the effect of light, that transition needs to be super smooth. So there you go, we've got a little bit of internal glow, not OSL. Not on these bits. This is just to make the little bit of pipe, a little bit of plastic rod that we've got in here, just have a bit of glow, have a bit of interest. So we're going in for another pass. And here. Tidy it up from this side. So we just basically sprayed the top, sprayed the bottom, now we're just joining the sides up. That part's done. Now on this, we are going to get a quick dot on this gem. Oh. So tiniest spot of paint. And I really do mean that. We're working that close at what's coming out at about 25-ish PSI right now. So you put a tiny amount of paint through the brush. The air then dries everything that's just been spat out almost instantly. Stops you getting spider webbing. Let's do this section now. We've done the throne, we've done the ribs. Now let's do the carapace, the body of this thing. We're going to sneak in under here to just give the orb a little bit of under highlight. And we want this thing to be glowing of its own accord, so we can't have it looking a bit boring from underneath. Let's get in there with that nice bright pink. Got a little bit on here. That's totally fine, because we've got OSL from these sections. Don't be silly, the next world-ending 2020 event will start, possibly. He's shifting 40k is an entirely theoretical game, says James. I forgot it's a real game. Currently, everything about it is theoretical, because nobody knows anything about Ninth in any great substantive amount of detail. Or at least no one that's willing to talk about it very openly on the internet. Yeah. What channel can you sub that as quality painting, top 40k player, and wrestling talk? I can't think of any that ticks all of those boxes, but I was waiting for something like after that to be a put down. So thanks, man. That was super sweet. Right, now coming in from the top of the ball. We're not spraying any of this as yet onto the control panel. This is all just working the ball. Between that and look after your tip, I mean, I've got no other words. Nothing but smut. But we need that highlight to stay nice and smooth. The reason we're not putting any of that out onto this section yet is because I want to establish the purple on here, the highlight on here, before we start looking at how far that light will come away from it. Haven't got a custom URL because you've got 15 subs. You do need 100. Yeah, I was hoping you started off a little bit earlier on. Put your link in though, man. We'll all give you a sub. Awesome, James. We'll get to that when we do the whip section at the end of the stream. That's coming up in about 45 minutes or so. So you guys have got plenty of time if you're doing some hobby to work on that before uploading your pics. So now what we're doing is we're just rocking back and forth on the trigger, letting the air dry the paint that we put down, applying the next layer, building up the thicknesses of this purple to find out what value we're going to stop at. And I think that's probably purple enough. So from there, I'm thinking that's dark enough that we don't need any additional glow from that color. Just the initial darker purple has been there. Fish! What up, dude? Everyone go and give Macy a sub on YouTube. Oh, look at you with your intro video. Very cool. Phew, excuse me. There you go, mate. Subbed. And you do League of Legends and video games and loads of intros. I like it. Very cool, man. Very, very cool. Oh, thank you. Sith, how you doing, dude? Right, we've got these little buttons to do. So I've got to get in super close again. Oh, I need to blow my nose in a minute. This is again a case of the tiniest motion on the trigger. Only a small amount of paint. Instantly let it dry down. And the reason we're doing this with the airbrush rather than the brush for this highlight is because we can, and that's kind of it. So, not streaming video games ever again. Fair enough, mate. I've watched a lot of video games streamed on Twitch. Like, ungodly amounts of StarCraft and League of Legends. I remember the bad old days of getting up at fucking 5 AM just so I can watch the Korean StarCraft 2 pros go at it. What was I doing with my life at that point? What was I doing? I loved the game. I even did commentary for the game on YouTube. That channel died a long time ago. But, oh, no need to get up that early just to watch StarCraft. Right, on these panels, we're going to do the glow on the bottom of each one, I reckon. So we're spraying past it, we're just letting the overspray kind of creep in, introducing itself a little bit. There you go. Now I'm going to do that to all the rest of them. So very carefully making sure that the bit of wet paint on my thumb doesn't touch the model. Not where the bone part is anyway. We do the same again. So let the overspray feather in from that one edge. Slowly build that up. Bam, done. Next. And you see we're going to get some nice gradient highlights on these. I'm watching a lot of Valorant during lockdown. What's Valorant? That was a new one. Another PC game until lockdown started. I don't play a lot of games. I've got a decent Steam account with quite a lot of stuff on there that I sort of picked up over God knows how many years. But I maybe play video games for an hour a week, if that. On the nights that I don't paint, and there's usually one night a week that I don't paint on. I just go out, have a stogie, and I started playing the League of Legends team fight thing on my phone a couple of months ago while having a smoke. That's quite a nice way to relax. Because you're not having to concentrate so much. Spectre! Dude, how you doing, man? Thank you for that, host. Always love seeing you come in, mate. Right, you know what? There's not enough purple on them, so we're going to redo them. So, second pass time. Come back to the bottom ones. Gonna amp up the volume on these. So, Valorant is like CSGO on crack. Okay. We're actually getting 5v5 Counter-Strike style. Nice. Nice. I can't play FPS games in any sort of multiplayer scenario. Not anymore. I used to be quite good at Call of Duty when Modern Warfare was the recent game for their series. And we prestiged like 7 times or whatever it was. We didn't quite get to the maximum, which I think was 10. And I was doing well on that online. And then years went by with me not playing FPS games online. And now being double Uzi to death by some horrid little 12-year-old. The rage builds. Can't play those games now. When it just comes down to who can pull the trigger the fastest, it's not fun for me. Because I'm old. And I can't pull the trigger as fast as I used to. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with skill, I promise you. It's everything to do with skill. I'm just old. That's also true. Right, these highlights on the inside. This is a pain to hold, but there we go. We've got away. Sorted. I used to be really good at CS 1.6 through CSGO, but I think I just got too old. It wasn't fun. Unless you could play a public server and end like 50-3. I just got mad. Damn. Damn. You get motion sickness from that. Shit, man, that sucks. I know Mark. Yeah. I know of Mark, at least. Fair. You don't enjoy 12-year-olds with lightning reactions either. Yeah, man. God. Time catches up to us all, man. I always used to have mad respect for the people that played Pro StarCraft 2 that were like... oh, God, I can't remember his name. He was Eastern European. I'm sure his name began with an R. And he was already in his 30s when he started playing it. But was one of the nicest dudes. But he was still absolutely smashing people. Fish, help me out here, dude. What was his fucking name? He's a super, super nice guy. No, I don't mean Pasha. Spectre, no worries, brother. Des is on that all the time. What was his fucking name? It'll come to me later on. Ugh. I'll remember, just as I'm about to go to sleep, who it was, and then I'll forget by the next stream. This is also what happens when you get old. You start writing shit down. I started writing a list of things I need to paint on these Nurgle demons in order. So for anyone that's been living under a hole and not watched the stream for a while. Living under a hole. Anyone's been living under a hole. Apparently not talking good English anymore is something else that happens when you get old. May I reply to your message about the competition you're in? This weekend, I am painting an entire Nurgle Demon army in one weekend on stream, and not only that, we're painting it yellow. I've got 1,838 points to paint in that very small space of time. It's going to be tricky, but we're going to do it. We're going to give it a go, and I reckon I can make it. I've started working out my timings, and I think we'll be okay. Airbrush Ho, brother, you got no fucking idea. There is going to be a billion pulls on that airbrush trigger this weekend. And then there's going to be a fuckload of oil paints. After there's been a little bit of paint. And then we're going to base them. And they'll be alright. They'll be alright. We will then go back at a later date and do things like actual highlights. But we've got 90 Plague Bearers, 15 Nurgling bases, 6 Toad Riders, 4 Poxbringers, and 3 Beasts of Nurgle to paint this weekend. It's going to be fun. During this weekend, we have got 10 custom-made basing bundles for the absolute hero, Sarah, over at Rival Crafts. We're going to give out those all the way through the weekend. Some of them will be for anyone. The majority of them will be sub-only, because obviously we've had to pay for these, and we've got to pay for shipping, and so on and so forth. But there's 10 of them up for grabs. Then at the end of the stream, we're giving away this guy painted in the same colour scheme as the army. We're going to finish him on Thursday's stream here, and do a base in a very similar fashion to what we're doing this weekend. Not only will you win him, though, you will win some inks to try out the colour scheme yourself, a secret extra mystery prize, and a Space Marine Reaver to try and match him to that one. We do love mystery prizes here, clearly. What are you painting on Sunday stream, then? Oh, I don't know, something else. You know. Your LVO army was 2k cast off from shrink wrap to complete in 6 days. That's fair, man. That's fair. How much of it were you painting on the plane? Like, oh, stewardess, can I get some refresh on my water, please? Because I've done that in metallics. I need to rinse a non-metallic paint now, and it'll mess up my... No? I was saying, I think I'm in second place now. Oh, shit, dude. Alright, Spectre, I want you to share your link here in the chat. Alright? So Spectre's in a painting contest. And it is online voting. Now, I'm not saying that you must go and vote for his entry. I haven't voted at all yet, dude. I'm just going to throw that out there. I hadn't seen you've replied to my message in the chat. Not saying you have to vote for Spectres, but there you go. I got done a day early, even in a practice game. Nice, mate. Nice. This was the Manny-style possessed bomb that I saw you running, right? Target number 4. Dude! Thank you very much. Pride plus good stream plus making sure I can sub without using PayPal anymore. Woo! Wait, you don't need PayPal to sub anymore? Awesome. Awesome, dude. Thank you very much for that sub. You're now going to be able to enter this month's mystery giveaway prize. For the painted mini this month, you could either win Ragnar Blackmane. Absolute beast. Absolute beast. Ah, and James. Dude. Fucking superstar. Much love, man. Much love. You're now going to be able to enter the prize draw this month as well. All you've got to do is be a subscriber, be online on the last stream of the month. This month, that is Tuesday the 30th. On that stream, exclamation point win for some details on how you could win a £50 hobby voucher. Who doesn't want 50 quid to buy some toys with? Especially right now. Yeah? 9th is coming. Get that voucher. Save it. Get yourself that launch box. You could also win a mini painted by me in the colour scheme of your choice. We will have 3 to choose from. 2 of them you guys know about now. They've already been revealed. One of them is Ragnar Blackmane. One of the hottest Space Marine minis right now. Absolutely epic sculpt. Great job on that. G-dubs, well done. Just trying to even out this purple. The other mini, the second of the 3. James, you might want this. You might want this. Is a Gene Stealer Cults Abominant. The man with the power hammer. When it's hammer time for him, everyone stops. I love that mini. It's a great, great mini. So if you're a GC Occults player, James, or you just love the fact that he's got a honking great big hammer, you could win him. On Sunday stream, when I am actually fucking delirious from painting for well in excess of 20 hours by that point, I'd imagine, we shall show you guys the mystery box. In the mystery box, there will be a mini. Could be anything. You guys know, because I've let this slip on purpose, but GW leaked that out. You guys know that it is a mini from these shelves. So that could be almost anything. We've got limited edition models up there. We've got 40k models, Sigma models. We've got terrain. You could win a small part of a building. It could be a grot. A single grot. It could be anything in that box. Could be Gasgol. I mean, it could be. Who knows, right? Who knows? Last month's box was pretty good. So last month's box was this guy who we decided to just go super ham on and paint freehand all over it. Because why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? So that's an option. But you will see the mystery box on Sunday. The only rules of the mystery box, and Lord Wedge definitely put it in the whip. The only rules of the mystery box is the entire model has to fit in the box. So the box I show you contains the model. It could be in sub-assemblies. Could be unassembled and therefore flat. It could be the box is 8 times the size of the model because it's a single Nurgling. Could just be that. So, there is much mystery surrounding that box. It's the most mysterious box anyone's ever seen. We're not talking about that kind of mystery box. It's not that box. So what we're doing with this purple now is we're getting some actual OSL going on. We've had a chat about what's going on with the stream. Let's have a chat about what's going on with the model. If we look at this, we've got just purple and some airbrush oversprayed purple. You know, could be anything. Well done, James. I did actually think of you when I said that. On this side though, where we've put in that brighter purple, now we're starting to see a little bit of that false glow effect, this object source lighting. Now we've obviously got one more highlight to do on this entire set of purple, but you can start to see where the effect is coming. Now what we're doing with this, we're aiming for the middle of these recesses where those little tubes are, and we're painting all of that bit this brighter purple. It's going to take several passes, as with everything else we've done with the airbrush, to go a bit opaque. We're then going to feather some of this purple up these channels a little bit. Now we don't want to cover off all of the darker purple that we did earlier on, because then we're not getting a fade from a bright purple into a dark one. It's not going to look like light, it's just going to look odd. So we're keeping that nice and close to the center. And really what this is going to mean is that when we get our final highlight in here, and we keep that super tight in, so just having it on the ridges of these rods, it's going to start really looking like that light. Spectre, not a problem, man. We're always happy to help you out. I haven't voted yet. When is the, like, when's the finish? When's the voting stop? Let's have a quick look. So this one, the Sanguinary Guard, is yours. There you go, brother. We voted for you. 23rd. Well, good luck, mate. Good luck. Right. Let's carry that on these. So again, starting in the center. Build up that pink. Once that first pass is having a chance to dry down, start feathering this out in both directions. Keep going back to it, building up the opacity with several passes. And then once we've got a nice bright purple in the middle there, then we can work a bit more on the surround. So hitting each of these four corners. Like so. And by the time we've done that on all of them, it'll really start to sell that glowing effect. Peace out, dude. We'll see you soon. Have fun at work tomorrow. So again, get in the middle. Get that laid down. Hit the corners. Easy, right? Anyone can do this. This is a super simple technique with an airbrush. Just requires you to essentially know and understand the rules of light. So to cover those off again. Light waves move in straight lines. Now I appreciate this bit would not get a light glow from something that's behind it. It doesn't bend around corners. We're actually ignoring that, and we're just saying that this bit has its own luminescence. But these bits, we're trying to keep as free of that light as possible. If a little touches the edge, like this here, it's not the end of the world. But certainly we won't want to paint over this. A lot of times, because airbrush OSL is simple, and is something that can be quickly and easily added to a project, you'll see a lot of commission painters put OSL on everything. I'm guilty of this as well. And the reason they do it, and I'm about to tell you one of my secrets, is because you can tell your client, oh, how about we do some OSL? You know, I think that would look really good on this. Obviously, it's more time, so it's going to cost you extra. And got to feel like one of those magicians that tells you how to do the other people's tricks. Wow, this is a super scumbaggy thing. But they will tell you that we can do OSL, it's going to cost you more, so we'll round it up and call it like this much money instead of this much money. And they'll do this with an airbrush and they'll call it done. Now, you guys that have been here a while know that I don't do that. Because the airbrush stage is not when the OSL is done. That's when you've done that part of the OSL. So we've still got work to do on this, which will be next stream now. We're going to do the OSL finish on this, and we're going to paint that Imperial Fist and get him finished off. Because you have to go back in with a paintbrush, and you have to bring in some really extreme highlights. You have to bring in the shadows again, because otherwise what you haven't got is OSL. What you've got is some airbrush fades on shit. That's it. So this right now is just airbrush overspray. This is not OSL. We'll knock it up a notch in a bit when we do the brush work. Show you what OSL is meant to look like. For these, in the center dot, just get a little bit going on there. We're not looking on the middle section to have that glowing, because if we do, everything will blend into one piece. On these sections, on the outside though, probably will have a little. So we're aiming for the middle of these. And just where the lines intersect for this bit, that's where we're going to aim for. So this cross is where our glow is coming from. So you need to feather that out to both ends of this and a little over the sides. Not a lot. We want to keep some separation between each of these 8 bits of light, because it'll be more interesting. Basically, having contrast on a model, and I'm not talking contrast paints, I'm talking a light thing and a dark thing, or a green thing and a red thing. You know, contrast, one colour being different to another for whatever reason. It could be temperature, warm and cold. That makes models interesting. The more contrast you can get into a model, the more interesting it's going to look. I'm not saying that you have to then make sure you're painting with as many different colours as possible, because a monochrome painting where you've just used black and white has got the maximum contrast. White is the brightest that something could possibly be, black is the darkest that something could possibly be. So you don't need to use a billion colours. You just need to get your values right for your contrasts, and you're away. Again, aiming for that little cross in the middle, using that rocking motion on the trigger to just spit out a tiny bit of paint at a time. Get a little bit of overspray going on around it. Like so. And then let's do this little ball up here as well. This is the little Necron dude's nightlight, clearly. So again, that's not going to cause a glow. We're not looking for OSL on this. We're just looking for it to have a little bit of a glow itself. Imagine this a little bit like some of those sort of mosses and things you see in caves that have got bioluminescence. You know, it's a very, very, very weak light that it's emitting. You need to change the bulb in this one. That's what it is. Right, let's do this side, and then we're on to our last highlight colour, which is to add some bone into the colour mix that we've already got. Contrast and drab is the same thing, right? Hell no. Be my back, turn all my plates replaced with black 3.0 and white 2.0. Sure, you could do that. Has he done white as well now? I didn't realise. I'd seen the black one done a lot, and I've seen Eenie Minis, who is an awesome streamer on Twitch. She sometimes hangs out here and lurks. So Eenie, if you're here, how you doing? She's used the black 3.0, and that looks super interesting. Like 99% light absorption, or like non-reflection, or whatever the technical terms for it would be. Weirdly, it's not black though. It's actually blue. If you mix it with yellow, you get green, rather than shit-coloured yellow, I guess. If you mix it with red, you get purple. Therefore, must contain black. Must contain blue. But apparently that stuff contains actual carbon. No, not carbon. Carbon fibre, I think it contains. So if it was just carbon, like some artist's carbon chalk things. You know, like the black chalk, whatever that's called. I think it is just called carbon, right? Probably a better name for it than just that. But charcoal! God, I knew we'd get there eventually. Jesus wept. It's been a long day. Now we're doing OSL, because why not? We always do shit like this when we're tired. Right, going to get rid of most of this. Carbon nanotubes, don't get in your lungs. Christ. No, definitely not. Flash and Dash, what up, dude? How's it going, man? Right, now we're going to grab some of the best utility colour ever. Menoth White Highlight. This is one of those colours that you can use to make anything brighter without pasteling it out. This is so useful, and I've used it on almost every single model I've painted in the last, I don't know, call it year. Easily. The reason why is because it's not white, it retains warmth of a colour. It doesn't just immediately blend it out into its brightest possible form. So when we're doing this purple, we talked earlier on about how we want to keep it vibrant, and that's why we're going from purple through pink to a lighter purple. When we start applying this, you won't really see the pink anymore, because that will have been taken place by this very bright purple that we're going to put down. But without the pink being there, you'd lose vibrancy. You wouldn't necessarily know why until you really examined it. But this is it. So, gonna clean the tip. Gonna need to thin this down a little bit more as well, I think. No, that's good. That's good. Cool. So let's go back to this, where we started, the ribcage. And from painting DDA, got 7 more Immortals to paint, so I know you're painting. Dude, we've got Immortals to paint on top of this. And I mean literally on top of this. We're going to attach Immortals, torsos, and guns to this. Right, here we go. Coming in towards the middle. Look at the difference between that and that. Yeah? This obviously, being brighter, has lost some of its vibrancy. But if we didn't put that pink colour in as our first highlight, there'd be nothing there. It would just be light purple. There'd be nothing else to it. So let's hit all of these now. From all the angles. I'm trying to keep this nice and central for each one. And for now, it's a very distinct highlight. We will feather these out in a second to make sure that they're not just a little dot. So you see these look very abrupt right now. By the time we've got a nice smooth sort of line that goes vertically throughout, they'll be a lot less sharp, a little bit more fuzzy. As a result, a lot more natural. So if we look at it from this angle, for instance, that looks absolutely fine. We'll see from the top, where it looks extremely abrupt, not so good. Hicko! I'm doing great, dude. How are you? Good to see you, man. Are you going to hang around this weekend when we paint an entire Nurgle Demon army, Hicko? In yellow. Give away a load of Rival Crash products because they're amazing. There we go. So that looks a lot more interesting than that side. But without this bit of pink in there, that would look super pastel and awful. Dude, we all missed the tunes, man. Just gotta move on past that. Can't dwell on that. This week, I think, so far, I've airbrushed for about 6 hours. And we're on Tuesday. So it's been a lot of airbrushing. My shoulders sore. Moving all stuff to the new house. Nice, man. Nice. Super congrats on that. So here we go. I'm getting the top down. And you see, it's just the tiniest amount of paint that we're letting through. Tiny amount of paint. There was nothing wrong with that singing, I'll have you know. Like, what kind of absolute bullshit are you trying to spout out here, Superfly Sai? My singing was epic. There are many ways you could take that on like both ends of the scale. It was definitely epic. It just wasn't necessarily good. That's the difference. We didn't use that as a qualifying criteria. It was both memorable and awesome in the way that it promoted a sense of awe. Sometimes it promoted a sense of, oh, shut up. But, you know, it's good. See. Same as we just done. Coming from the bottom. Just get all the way around it so we've got that little light source. Now remember, this isn't emitting light, it just has its own little internal glow. And there's loads of things that you could do like this. I mean, you don't have to have plasma that is blowing light out all over the place. Your Space Marine plasma rifles or whatever other army it may be, you could do your plasma like this and keep it nice and subtle. Muted. You could do headlamps and stuff on vehicles that rather than casting a shitload of light onto something, just glow nicely. You do it on pipes. My aggressors that I did for my... No, not aggressors, Centurions. For my first Marine army. The pipes for their grav amps had a similar effect to this on. On the chair. Just get in here. Top back of the chair. There you go. Nice and simple. Let's do a bit more. Cool beans. On these little tiny pipes. A little bit there. A little bit on the little ball underneath. Just very small highlights on this. Yeah, you can't really see that one because the camera is having an issue picking that highlight up over the satin from the paint. But just a real small specular highlight. It will make all the difference when it's on the model because this area is quite dark. So adding that to it is going to do us a lot of favours. Just hit both of those bits of pipe as well. Happy days. Let's do this bit. Let's do the ball in the middle first. We're not going to do a highlight underneath that, but we will do one right in the middle. So get in there nice and tight. Very small amount of paint. all the air pressure to really laser that highlight in there. Super precise. And then when we get around here, now we can start just feathering that out a little bit, making it look a little bit more like a glow and less like just a random bit of airbrushing. Getting a lot of paint drying on the tip here. So just keeping it clean, just using the paintbrush I use for mixing paints in the cup. A little bit of water to clean off around there. This happens quite a lot when you're using any kind of almost white or white paint. Even with the amount of flow improver I'm using, it happens. It's okay. So that's now nice and bright in the middle. We've got a little bit of purple glow out to both sides. We're going to hit both of these buttons again. 1, 2, and then this one. Boom. So they've got a nice little glow to them. Not finished the renovations, dude. I lived in a house that we were constantly renovating until I was 10 when we... No, till I was 14 when we finally finished the kitchen, I think. So, totally fine. We're painting some Doomsday Arcs. We're painting some purple glow. Some of it is OSL. Some of it is just glow. Like these bits. This isn't OSL. It's not projecting light anywhere. It's just got its own little internal happy glow of purple on the death-dealing murder cannon machine. Doesn't mean it can't be happy, alright guys? There you go. You can't really see that one. There you are. So we're just getting these panels now. So now we're just going to cover up this side. We'll get both of these at once. Just going down to that bottom corner. As always, let the overspray go in and do what it do. And then just introduce the airbrush just to pop the highlight out a little bit further. See, look at the difference between the two sides, yeah? And if we didn't have that pink in there, that would be super pastel. Instead, it looks like quite a nice, rich purple still, which is exactly what we were after. Little. Just making sure they're relatively even, looking good. Move on to the next one. And then now I'll flip it upside down so we can hit these two. So this is what we're going back to earlier on. We were just masking parts of the model with our glove. We're just being careful not to allow any wet paint on the glove to come in contact with other areas of the model. Obviously, just get a bit of practice, you'll be fine. There you go. Now that's a nice coloured surround. It helps accentuate the bone colour we've got there. By the time we've got the command throne, which goes in somewhere like there-ish, I think, with the dude on it, that's going to look really, really cool. Let's do my lights. So much to go for the lights look off, as those lights have foot at the back to help keep light. Yeah, that makes sense. Any chance of a look at the Immortal? I can show you one. Well, we bought a longer cable for our headphones now. Now we don't have music that I desperately want to listen to all the time. We got the cable. So, no, it's stuck on bloody light cable. Alright, I'll sort that another time. do that off stream. Everyone's seen half a Necron. What we've created is these little wire armatures, which are still slightly posable, despite the green stuff being set, which will go into the Ghost Ark, and the Immortal will be attached to that. So he's got like a snake body. James, peace out, dude. Great to see you again, man. Take it easy. Those will come out of these holes. We just need to re-drill those. Then you'll have this Necron that sort of comes out of it and sits around here, protecting the guy on the throne. So very different to a normal Ghost Ark, obviously, but also hopefully very cool. Right, so once again, clean the tip. We're going to be going to the whip real soon, and we're a little bit later through the stream than I thought it was going to be at this point. So we will have to do another whistle-stop tour of the whip. So if you have loaded up something and you're looking for in-depth CNC, then I'll do my best. But I have got work tomorrow. So in these sections, just getting some of that brighter purple right down towards the bottom. I need to just bring this one up a little further. Brighten that one a little bit. Yeah, now it's starting to get that glow coming in. Now it won't actually be sold as a glow until, of course, we hit these areas. Now we need to be careful now. We want to get a bit of glow there. We don't want to get this recess down here, but we do want to get a bit of glow on here. So where that light is shining out, it should illuminate the path directly in front of it. We can widen these areas a little bit. And it's a little skinny in comparison to the light source that we've got. We were trying to avoid the recess that the light wouldn't be able to hit. Now that looks a lot more natural. Jan! Dude! Mate, congrats again on getting partner. Well deserved, mate. Well deserved. Everyone must already be following you because of that, but if you're not, give that man a follow. He's an absolute boss. I didn't know you were here lurking. So Jan, the first time you saw me streaming, I think the first time you came over here, we were doing that all-day stream painting the Pumpkin Pirate King. And then not long ago, we did a weekend stream painting that Chaos Knight. This weekend, we decided to make ourselves a slightly larger challenge. I've got an entire Nurgle Demon army that needs painting. Oh yeah. We're going to do what will probably, come 9th edition, be a 2,000 point demon army. And we're going to do that in a weekend. Saturday and Sunday, possibly late into Monday morning, but definitely those 2 days. It's going to be epic, man. Not only are we painting a Nurgle Demon army in a very, very short space of time, we're painting them yellow. All the yellow. And Ben, yeah, you'll be super sorry when you don't want these on the tail anymore. You need the Canoptech dudes. Bro, I can't paint a mini in 2 months. Miss painting so much. Unlucky, dude. Unlucky. Well, Jan, look, you take it easy, man. Get some rest. Everyone give that man a follow if you don't already. Actual legend here on Twitch. Right, with this bit of purple, we're just getting the inside sections. there's going to be a little bit of overspray that hits these corners. We're not too worried about that, because we will be putting some brushed highlights on those areas. That's the next part of the OSL, is to come back in with some shades, darken down some of the areas that we've just made so bright, because those are areas that shouldn't be getting made bright. And then just get some crisp, clean edge highlights on stuff. But look at that. That looks like it's got a glow. That looks like it's got a glow, but it's nowhere near as bright. Peace out, brother. Banana Demons. Yes. That's super loud, that track. I'm going to skip it, because that was too much for my ears. Potassium for the potassium god. That'll do. That'll do. That could be their war cry. It does mean that when we take a break from doing commissions over the next couple of months, that we will have to paint up things like Rotigus, the Sloppity Bar Piper, because he's amazing. And I still think that Sloppity, if somebody told me I was Sloppity, that's the Nurgle word I'd take the most offense to being called. How would you describe a Sloppity person? What kind of person is Sloppity? It just sounds horrible. Like, being called putrid is pretty horrible. But being called Sloppity is somehow worse. What's Onslow? I don't get that. Brett, not Brett, Ben. It began with a B, I was close. Take it easy, man. See you soon. Glad you're enjoying this. Can't wait to kick the shit out of these on the table. They think they're going to snipe out a knight. Psst. I wonder if in 9th these things can move and fire. Because that's on their data sheet that they can't move and fire, right? That's not a rule. So currently in 9th, these things still can't fucking move, despite the fact that vehicles can move and fire heavy weapons. Or is it you can only fire on like the shit mode, not the super high powered laser mode? Two knights, one turn. You bring the pylon as well. That's fine, brother. That's absolutely fine. Although you will never hear the words rotate ion shields as fast as you'll hear it in that game, I swear to you. Whew. They can move and fire, but they get even shitter. Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. No, they made that. No, they made not that. The new thing with the same gun can't do it. That's not even a sentence. If they move and fire, it becomes a battle cannon with better AP. Brilliant. Brilliant. So not the super duper death ray of death and doom. Which, let's be fair, is all you really want it to fire at a night. Anyway, brother. Peace out. You're on 2 hours sleep. Are you still painting? If not, why not? 2 hours sleep is no excuse for not painting. I'm going to regret saying that come the weekend when I've had 2 hours sleep and we're still painting the banana demons. But it is what it is. Right, we're very nearly approaching the end of the stream, and we should have started the whip 10 minutes ago. Greg, paint something. If you're awake, you should be painting, right? That's the rules. So, as we're very, very late into the whip, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing here. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because that feels really, really bad to everyone that's put something in the whip gallery. And I really appreciate you guys sharing your work because I think it's an awesome part of the community. So it'd be really disingenuous of me to just go, like, alright, cool, so we'll put your shit up on screen and I'll just sit here and paint a thing. We did it on the base of something recently, and I can't remember what it was, but I needed to get that finished, whereas this we don't need to get finished, not right now. So we'll crack on, we'll go slightly later, which means you guys are all earning bonus meeps, and those bonus meeps, they're going to be good in 2 weeks' time today. Because that's the giveaway stream. And that's the only stream where meeps matter. Exclamation point win. Exclamation point mystery if you don't know what either of these two things are. It's super important. We've got an actual blockage because I can feel the air being pushed back along the airbrush. That might stop us in our tracks anyway. You can go rotate yourself. Brilliant. Brilliant. You can rotate on that. How good indeed. Brett says going to have 3 Doom Sides, 3 Doom Cannon Walkers, 30 Immortals, and a big Catan boy. And of course, the Silent King. Alright. This got loud. Again, we'll just skip that one. That's a loud track. We've got 2 loud tracks we need to find and remove. That's better. Right, so we've got lit up balls, we've got lit up shaft, which is going really, really badly. Now we've got the funky spiderweb to do. The disco spiderweb. Gonna kill myself trying to paint it, but golly gee, he's cool. He is looking cool. The words sub-assemblies, I feel, have never been more appropriate than with that. It does look sick, though. It does look really, really sick. Right, so just like before, we go to that confluence point, the crossing over of that center line, and our little light box thing, lamp, glowy thing, whatever it's going to be. It's some Necron glowing stuffs. That's what we've got. And we're just hitting a tiny highlight in the middle of that. That's all we want to do. We're not looking to blur this out onto the sides at all. We're just looking for that little specular highlight. Like so. So now that looks like it's got its own little luminescence. It's not glowing like this. It's not casting light onto something. It's just doing its thing. Could be cool. Just paint the night light. Just while we're up here. There we go. And what we'll do after we've done this is we will assemble parts of it just so you guys can see the overall effect. So I won't do the whole thing, just bits of. And then on the next stream, we're going to focus on doing our Imperial Fist Boy to get him finished off because he's been given away at the weekend. And if we get time, I will show you guys the next step in this OSL that we do, which is to apply some shades and some highlights like we talked about earlier on. It really helps snap everything into focus, makes everything a lot more defined. Just makes it look good, goddammit. So there you go. That's the Doomsday gun itself. Put it on an angle so you can see it all just about in frame. I like that. Let's move the camera up a bit now so we can zoom it out a bit. And let's put some of this together. Because why not? So let's grab this bit and we'll carefully prise that off the blue tack that it's on. Clean some of that up before we try putting it together. In fact, you know what? I'll do this while we do the whip, because that I feel I can get away with. Let's see what's in that whip gallery. That's pre-stream. So the first one during the stream was James doing some painting. He's not here anymore. But there we go, painting a purple buggy. This is Jeans to the Cult. This guy has won a lot of events with his Jeans to the Cult. And he's taken some pretty heavy scalps at those events as well. Yet to have the opportunity to give him a game. We've come very, very close at events of playing each other though. Let's just say I've dodged that bullet. It's been fortunate that I haven't had to play him, because that's the end of my tournament at that point. Nice work there, dude. Crazy Anked! Still going strong on his Imperial fists. It's all about the fists on this channel at the moment. Can't be angry about that. Liking these though, man. Centurions. I suddenly don't like these anymore. Imperial Fist Centurions as a Knight player are just the stuff of nightmares, man. But good job, dude. You've been going for... Are we into week 4 now, or are we still in week 3 of you painting these guys? And you've done an entire army. Pretty much. There's very little that you haven't yet finished off. Which is super cool. And some great, great throughput. Got your bastard slot together. That does look pretty fucking tasty, I'm not gonna lie. Rev! We got 10! We've doubled the unit size! Happy days, dude. Happy days. Loving them, mate. Absolutely loving them. All the character in the world, these models. That's what they've got. All the character in the world. Very, very cool, man. Very cool. Crownblade, more terrain for Mordheim, and some trogs for some random encounters. You say Mordheim, this is the Warcry set, isn't it? I think. The big head thing. Nice, looks good. Looks good. Rev, I love them, mate. Absolutely love them. And then, here we go. Oh, they're cool. I like the kind of albino-ish look that you've gone for. Nice looking crystal on the hammer as well. That's pretty tight. Nice. Yeah, very good, mate. Very, very good. And then Crazy Anked. There he is, just finishing that off. And that is fortunately tonight a very short whip, because it's late and I am the tireds. So, just going to move the croissant, le baguette rather, off screen. This is what we worked on tonight. See, all together, that's looking pretty tight. I'm liking this a lot. So we've got all of the OSL. You can see just in the middle, that Doomsday Cannon. Got these little glowing rods as well. That little bit of glow around the cockpit, just to give it a little bit more sort of importance. And then finally, just showing that little engine or whatever it is at the back. Like this. This is very, very cool. But that is it. That is tonight done. We will be back on Thursday night, live at 9 UK time, as always. Thursday, we're painting the fist. To get this guy finished off, going to do a very natural, using actual plants, garden base for this guy. Got a little bit of highlighting left to do on things like his pouches, but otherwise that's it. We'll get him done. Then once we've done him, we'll jump back to this. We'll get the highlights put down to finish off this OSL purple. And that'll probably be more than enough to do in the stream anyway. So thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. Don't forget, this weekend you can join in and try and win not only that Imperial Fist Marine and some inks to go with it and to paint it. You can win a load of basing kits from Rival Crafts. We've got loads here. Dark Marsh. Wildfire. Wildfire looks really cool, by the way. Campfires. They look so cool in person. Like when Sarah put these up for sale on her site, I was like, yeah, I'm not sure. In person, they're great. They're so good. So that's Saturday and Sunday. Going to be streaming that. Got all of these cool Nurgle minis to paint. All we're doing off stream is getting to this stage. Zenithly highlighted. That's it. It's going to be such a long weekend, but I'm going to enjoy every minute of it because we've got the best community ever right here. Now, though, let's go find somebody else on Twitch we can pass the hobby love onto. There we go. This guy's almost never streaming when we're on. Awesome. We're going to go on raid Jimmy the Brush. Like I said, this guy, normally, daytime streamer. So I'm not sure what's going on today. Let's go find out, though. Thank you again to all of you. You rock. Peace out, everyone. We'll see you Thursday.
Welcome back.
So they got all the things. They're cheaper to buy in groups as well.
Mohawkminiatures,
how you doing?
Thank you so much for the raid. How are you? Oh my lordy.
They got all these beautiful dice.
They're
you want some
absolutely
beautiful
amazing,
dice, guys? Grab them. They got glow in the dark dice, which we've tried out. They're really cool.
Yes.
They got all these beautiful dice. So if you play D&D and you want some nice dice for your games, or you want some nice dice for a gift for someone, or for Christmas and such, then there we go. There's loads there. Okay.
Hey, Dudade, how you doing? Hey, that's Sundays. How's it going, guys? Don't often get the chance to.
We are doing a live stream,
yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, yeah.
How's your stream? What did you paint today? I've been painting this shield.
I'll give him a follow.
On this beautiful
day. Thank you so much for the follow.
Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. How's your stream, Mohawk?
What were you working on tonight, buddy? Right, where was I with this? Oh my god.
Oh lordy, this dropped into my wet palette. Look at my shield. I did all this wet blending.
It looks very nice, babe.
Isn't that cool?
It is very cool, yeah. Well done, you.
Hey, I'm so proud of myself. Boom, boom. Painted a lot of purple OSL for some Necrons. Oh my god, this was a good stream. Fantastic.
That's cool.
Let us know if you would like something showing off, and we'll give you a permit to post the link in the channel.